Defining the age of consent, one of the most perplexing and elusive of all sociological problems, and yet perhaps not coincidentally, one of the least thoroughly understood and least thoroughly examined of them all. For good reason, obviously. How exactly does a civilized society go about determining once and for all the definitive age at which we can definitely say that individual young people are capable of consenting to sexual intercourse? Perhaps the most personal and intimate experience humans are capable of. What precise age is it that we can consent to this process? Because if we underestimate, we run the risk of allowing rape to run rampant and essentially giving that our consent as a society. And if we overestimate too conservatively, we make criminals out of lovers. And how is it that we can find a way out of this little quandary and to ensure that not only are decent people not arrested for simply being romantic human beings who love another human being who is capable of loving them, and yet at the same time protect actual children from being abused? This is a fine line which it seems modern society is not capable of defining specifically, because ultimately they attempt to utilize a quantitative process for what is, in essence, a qualitative phenomenon. One of the most personal and subjective of all human experiences cannot be dealt with in this sort of automated rubber stamp, one-size-fits-all terminology of slapping an age on an individual, a magic milestone at which you suddenly move overnight from pure and utter innocence, naivety, and childhood into a sexual maturation and a sexually conscious and capable human being. This sort of process could not be more individualized, and to attempt to utilize this one-size-fits-all form for all necessarily either on the one hand overestimates or underestimates at what age young people are capable of giving consent to sex. You have, in the extreme cases of places such as Spain, where the age of consent is approximately 12 or 13, instances in which it is much easier to essentially commit legitimate rape upon an actual child, whereas it would be more difficult to perform such acts in regions or states where the age of consent was much higher. But in such regions, it is very, very imminently possible that actual sexually mature young people are going to be denied the right to actually express their love in the most intimate and personal ways. And the individual that they love and reciprocates that love is branded a criminal for doing such. And it seems there's no way to evade this problem of the arbitrary nature of an age of consent. The idea is nonsensical on its face, and there is only one consistently effective and objective measure by which we can measure the capacity of any given individual to have sex, to consent to sex, and that is the capacity to have sex. It is pubescence. Once an individual has achieved pubescence, they now know what it is to feel sexual urges, what it is to be a sexual being. They can experience orgasms, and they can experience the full gamut of sexual pleasure That doesn't mean that they are necessarily mature or even emotionally stable individuals, but at which point, at what stage do we determine that it's okay to allow emotionally unstable individuals to proceed in having sex? Because if we are to say that because a given 14-year-old who comes from a perfectly healthy and happy, well-adjusted family and upbringing, who most would agree is perfectly capable of choosing their own sexual partner and partaking in sex in a healthy way with someone they love, if this person is able to do that at this age, and yet we see countless examples of people not in their teens, but into their 20s, their 30s, and indeed their entire lives, individuals who will never be capable of carrying on an emotionally healthy and psychologically stable relationship. If your goal is to protect people, then there is no stage at which you can essentially lift this ban on sex, because there are many, many people who are abused and wounded individuals at their core, and to have sex with them essentially at any stage in their life is abuse. While there are many, many 13, 14, 15-year-olds who are more than capable of carrying on a healthy, mature, romantic, and sexual relationship with the people they choose. Now, if you are to apply the one-size-fits-all standard, you are not only excluding the individuals who are more than capable of choosing to love the people they love in the way they wish, but you're also being a hypocrite in pretending to protect them while at the same time allowing numerous others who, while they may be chronologically considered adults, are more emotionally and psychologically immature than those very children you are attempting to protect, who don't need your protection at all. So the only means by which we can escape these abounding irrationalities is to say once and for all that it is absurd to predetermine at what age an individual is capable of consenting to sexual relations, when the only determination is the most individual of all, and that is pubescence.